Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best 10 brawlers in the game right now. So literally a week ago or so, I did a tier list and then a best 10 brawlers before that. So not too long ago, but the balance changes on Monday, so I have to update it. Literally the question I'm getting asked the most, whether the meta's changed or not, who are the best 10 brawlers in the game. So I'll be answering that in today's video. So before we jump into things, make sure you're using the create code, that'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's hop into it. Alright guys, so jumping into the 10th best brawler in the game right now, we still have Ash. So the meta hasn't shifted too much. We've seen a few other tank counters rise to fame, but especially with ESL last weekend, we've seen a lot of Ash towards the end. So it's not really drafted like all the time because of course he is a tank. But whenever you're drafting in Power League, you have to always consider that you might face off against an Ash if they have a last pick. So Ash is just amazing literally everywhere. As long as it's not a completely wide open map, he's going to be able to pop off against so many different brawlers. So even on Bounty, he's really strong. Brawl specifically with maps with a lot of unbreakable walls, he's going to be a fantastic tank. And I just think Ash is one of the scariest brawlers, especially when he's fully raged up. A good Ash can easily manipulate every single situation, and his super can really help you against those brawlers that hard counter him, like Colette for example, like Surge. The rest can really carry you. So now jumping into the 9th best brawler in the game, we have Bonnie. So just quickly before we talk about how strong Bonnie is, we've got a few honorable mentions. So the first one's going to be Cole. Cole was actually picked, I think, like the 5th most in ESL last weekend. So just going to show that he's still such a prominent pick in the meta. I think he's a really underrated pick right now. We also have Ruffs, Jean, Stu, and Otis. All of these brawlers just missing out on the top 10. So next up, we have Bonnie then. So Bonnie is just solid everywhere. She's always been in and around the top 20. In some metas, she's kind of overshadowed by some other powerful brawlers. But I just think she's a really strong, flexible pick right now. Of course, she's got that long range. She's got the gadget that can help speed her up and get that extra DPS out, and then just one super can pretty much kill every single brawler in the game, especially if they're pretty weak, and it can really help you establish control. And that's the best thing about Bonnie. No other brawler can really do that except for Bonnie in the game, especially how fast and how precise you can pinpoint that super. Every single game mode she's been used in, specifically in game modes like Heist, where you can just literally use that super to jump onto the safe. So for me, Bonnie is a fantastic brawler right now. So next up, as the 8th best brawler in the game right now, we still have Crow. So Crow is still dominating when it comes down to whether it's ladder, whether it's Power League. It's just a solid option overall. So in Brawl, he's going to be a really great option. I've seen several times. It depends what region you kind of play in, but I've even seen Crow make it as like a mid in Gem Grab or Brawl. He's a really good shutdown to a lot of the meta brawlers right now, whether that's a max, whether it's other combinations as well. Crow can just play that role really well because he's that mid that isn't really flawed against tanks. Like once he gets a super, he can jump away or of course jump onto a smaller brawler. He's got his slows to prevent people pushing up onto him, and his slows can just help gain control so easily. So he's used pretty much everywhere. Crow is an amazing brawler. Next up, as the 7th best brawler in the game right now, I've gone for RT. So RT's being picked a little bit less. It's actually pretty hard to put all the brawlers in around the 1st to 7th place. You could honestly switch pretty much all of them, but the reason why I put RT a little bit down, I feel like it's just being power creeps a little bit, but he's really strong in Power League. If you're looking for one of the best brawlers to max out right now, it has to be RT because he can be played literally everywhere. Of course, he's got that long range. He's only got a super to help him out against any aggro picks. I just feel like as time goes on, he's being drafted a little bit less, but still he's a really powerful pick. Of course, you've got his gadget to kill those longer range brawlers, and then you're starting to see him a lot more in game modes like Knockout, for example, where he can use his other star power, the shield star power, to get a lot more survivability. We've seen him quite a lot in ESL last weekend. He was like the 5th most picked / banned brawler. So just going to show that pros really value RT as a brawler, but still, he's not really going anywhere. He's one of the best brawlers in the game easily. So next up, as the 6th best brawler in the game right now, I've gone with Janet. So Janet received a 300 HP nerf, but HP nerfs don't really do too much to certain brawlers, and for Janet, it's really done nothing. It might make her a little bit more squishy, but overall, you know, she's still a really good brawler in literally every single circumstance. She was one of the most picked brawlers in ESL last weekend. I'll keep referring to that because it was where all the best teams in the world came together and faced off. So pros, if they use a certain brawler or ban a certain brawler a lot, just goes to show how strong they are. So she's just really annoying everywhere. You can pretty much use her everywhere, especially on maps with a lot of walls, because the main reason why she's so good is because she can output some decent damage at 1500, but she can just wall peek so easily. She can just get so much pressure on the map with her gadget. And then, of course, if she's in a sticky situation or whether she needs to finish someone off at range, she can just use her super. So for me, she has to still be one of the best brawlers in the game. Alright guys, jumping into the 5th best brawler in the game right now, I still have B. So even though she received a nerf for the last set of balance changes, I don't think it really changed too much. You'll see this common theme with all the balance changes recently. They were just small nerfs. Like, we're looking for some much bigger nerfs to impact some of the top brawlers. But anyway, B, she received a nerf with her charge shot. I think it deals like 300 less damage. It's not really going to do too much, especially if you're like a sharpshooter. She still does a lot of damage to them, like 3,400, I believe, around if she has the damage gate activated as well. So she's just fantastic. She's really strong against everything. She's still being drafted pretty much everywhere, and she's always that safe option. And when we're talking about ladders specifically, she's like the go-to mid in pretty much every single scenario. So for me, B is still one of the best brawlers. Okay, so now we're moving on to the 4th best brawler in the game right now. We have Penny. So Penny is still one of the best brawlers in the game really easily right now. So she receives a small nerf with like 300 HP or so. That didn't really do too much to her because, let's face it, it didn't really change too much of the good things about her. She's got a really strong gadget, one of the best supers in the game, and then also just really consistent damage and also good range as well. She's just really strong everywhere. In ESL last weekend, she was the most picked / banned brawler, so just going to show how like strong pros think she is, and she's just used everywhere. We say this time and time again for months and months on end now, and it's just crazy to me how she's not been nerfed in other ways. So for me, she actually received a small buff with the last update as well. The pet gear actually allowed her to get even more damage with her turret, so her turret's just been even more deadly now. So for me, she has to receive multiple nerfs with like her gadget and her super before she becomes anywhere near away from the top 10. Alright guys, so now jumping into the 3rd best brawler in the game right now, we still have Meg. So even with a recent nerf, I still think she's one of the best brawlers in the game right now. So thankfully, she hasn't been killed off. I know a lot of people like to kill off some of the best brawlers in the game, and you might think myself as a YouTuber will overreact and want this brawler to be killed, but you know, Meg, I like her being one of the best brawlers in the game, but slowly she will receive nerfs and slowly drift off from the meta. But for now, we can enjoy a nice, fresh Meg meta. So the nerf recently was to her star power, which we've been crying out for like a year now, but at least they actually changed it so it doesn't get as much value. It's still pretty strong, but then you've also got her other star power, which can help cancel or just help her against other aggro brawlers, you know, like Carl, for example, cancel his super, or whether like as a mortis just completely destroying you. But it's just the same with Meg. She's still got a lot of HP. She can deal really consistent damage. She's got good range. She could, of course, can heal up in that mech as well. Just so many good things about Meg. She still has to be one of the consistently strongest brawlers in the game. Alright guys, jumping into the 2nd best brawler in the game right now. Yeah, this isn't a joke. This isn't April Fool's either. It is Shelly. So Shelly, I think, is the 2nd best brawler in the game. I've not had too much chance to get my hands on her since the new updates have kind of arrived, but whenever I've been watching practices, I've been watching Queso Cup as well, especially in EU. Everyone seems to think Shelly's one of the best brawlers in the game, and I'd actually say so right now that she's incredibly strong. Maybe people are overreacting. We'll have to wait and see. I'll probably do a tier list when Hank comes out and see where Shelly is there. But for now, I think she's incredibly strong. She's even being used on maps like Shooting Star. She's been used a lot in Bounty. I've seen like Dry Season, one of the most passive maps. Shelly being picked quite often. Backyard Bowl as well, I've seen her being used. And the main reason why she's so strong is because of that movement speed. Time and time again, it really helps you push up and push your enemies back. You know, it's really hard to hit like one of the fastest brawlers in the game like Shelly. It is just insane. She's also just a lot stronger than other tank counters like Otis, so that's kind of pushed Otis out of meta a little bit, but she's just insane everywhere. So for me, it's no joke right now. Shelly has to be one of the best brawlers. Alright guys, jumping into the best brawler in the game right now, I've gone with Max. So literally every other brawler in and around Max within a top of the meta received a nerf, so it's only natural that Max has to be the best brawler in the game, right? And it hasn't changed whatsoever. You know, Max is still insanely strong, really strong literally everywhere. She was already one of the most drafted / banned brawlers for about 6 months or so now within competitive, and of course that's not going to change anymore. She just synergizes with pretty much everyone, and when it comes down to pretty much every single map, every single mode, you can never go wrong with drafting Max pretty early on, because it's never really like one solid hard counter. Like, I know Crow can be pretty decent against Max, but still often Max will get a lot of value, you know, up until Crow runs out of those slows. Max can then just destroy Crow or any other composition that goes her way. So she's really speedy, really flexible. We say it time and time again, Max is still one of the best brawlers in the game. Alright guys, it's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think of the brand new top 10. There's literally really nothing that's changed except for maybe like Shelly getting a lot higher within the rankings. But everything pretty much has stayed the same. So I don't think, me myself anyway, I don't think the meta's actually changed too much. But with the introduction with Hank, I think pretty soon, I'm not too sure when it comes out. But anyways, when he does come out, we'll do a brand new tier list because of course a brand new brawler might shake up the meta quite a fair amount. But let me know what you think of Shelly and also my other rankings. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.